Hello everyone, I'm Serena Filippelli and I'm a PhD student at Industrial Engineering at the University of Parma, and the other colleagues that co-authored this paper are Barbara Bigliardi and Eleonora Bottani. This is the agenda I will follow. So at first I will present some introductory concepts in order to give the main the main definition related to the theoretical context of our research, and then we go through the objective of the work and the methodology adopted to achieve the objective. And lastly, I'm going to present the results of the research with a final conclusion of the overall research project. So, the term Internet of Things is a neologism, and it refers to the extension of the Internet to the world of concrete objects and places. So this concept has been introduced by Kevin Ashton during a presentation at Procter & Gamble in 1999. And what Ashton stressed is that the important revolution of the IoT would be the fact that it lets computers control physical systems in a way that humans are not able to. So, what is IoT? So it can be defined as an interconnected system of computing devices, which can be both mechanical and digital. So this system uses sensors which are attached to machines, animals, and even people to collect and to create great amounts of important and detailed data about processes. And the aim is to improve those processes with this great amount of data. So we can say that the thing in the Internet of Things concept is a physical object, any physical object that can be assigned an IP address, okay, and which has, of course, the ability to send data over a network. Now we will have a look at the adoption of the IoT system in the food industry. So I will just introduce some basic concepts, but then we are going to deepen this relationship through the keywords analysis, which will be explained in the next slides. It can be said that the opportunities for IoT in the food sector are almost limitless. In fact, the implementation of IoT enables a better management of the food supply chain at all levels, so from raw materials within the factory to the delivery of product to consumers and customers. Moreover, it simplifies the process of data collection and also enables food companies to ensure high level of traceability and safety along the supply chain. So, finally, it helps to reduce waste, costs, and even risks at all the stages of the process. In literature, the main research themes related to the study of IoT in the food industry are related to the utilization of this system to improve food security and food control, to improve the traceability and the transparency all along the supply chain, to improve sustainability and, of course, reducing waste, and finally to optimize transportation. The aim of our paper is that of identifying and organizing the main research topics regarding the development of IoT systems in the food sector. The methodology used is the literature review, and this literature review is conducted through a keywords analysis, which will be detailed in the next slides. And the advantage of this kind of review, which is different from a systematic one, is the possibility to understand how the intellectual structure is organized, and at the same time to understand which are the topics that most interest scholars in recent times. As I already said, the main goal of the paper is to provide a more comprehensible view of the application of the IoT system in the food industry. So, to do that, we relied on the framework proposed by the scholars Fadlal and Damani in 2015. So, the model they propose to do the literature review is based on the use of keywords. The keywords, in fact, are the terms chosen by the authors of papers with the aim of summarizing the document's topic. So, this framework adopts two parameters, frequency and persistence. Frequency indicates how many times authors used a concept over time, used a concept as a keyword over time. So a concept with a high frequency means that it is considered as a relevant one. Persistence, on the other hand, is a time-related dimension, and it refers to the continuity of a given concept over time. It can be assessed by the amount of years that the concept has been used as a keyword, and in this case, in this way, we got the persistence dimension. Then, combining the frequency dimension and the persistence dimension, we can obtain a framework that allows to organize the literature on the topic selected. So, the framework is made of 4 quadrants, defined on the basis of the levels of persistence and frequency. Specifically, a keyword has a high frequency or a high persistence if the value of frequency or persistence is greater than the average frequency value or the average persistence value, called AFC or APC, average frequency count, average persistence count, and this average frequency count or persistence count is defined as the average value of frequency or persistence of the sample. So the 4 quadrants derived from this combination of parameters are the core, the intermittent, the trendy, and the emerging or phantom one. So the concepts considered emerging or phantom occur with low persistence and low frequency, which means either that they have been recently developed or that they have already disappeared. Trendy concepts instead have appeared as keywords in many articles, but have been used for a rather limited number of years, so showing scholars peaks of interest. Then we have core concepts, which have been discussed by many articles and continuously over the years. And finally, we have the intermittent ones, which are concepts addressed with discontinuity. So in order to select the articles to be reviewed using this keywords analysis, we conducted a search on the Scopus database using the query that is showed on the slide. So combining the term IoT with those related to the food sector. Then we have applied the 3 inclusion criteria, which are the English language only, the belonging to the business management and accounting Scopus area, and the limitation to only scientific journals. So in this way, the final number of papers of the sample has been 78. Before discussing the results of the review, using of course the keywords analysis, it is worth mentioning how we sorted keywords in each quadrant. So this process started with the uniformation of keywords. So for instance, choosing a single term for synonymous concepts or using a single formula for acronyms. Then we eliminated from the computation the exact keywords that we used to conduct the review, to conduct the query, the Scopus query. So in this case, they would have distorted the results. In the end, in order to decide whether a keyword had a higher or low frequency or persistence value, the average of the frequency and persistence value of the sample has been calculated using Excel. Now I'm going to present the discussion for the most relevant quadrants for our analysis, which are the core one and the trendy one. So in fact, analyzing the core quadrant, we can assess which are the core topics related to the use of IoT in the food industry, and of course we can derive the theoretical foundation. And on the other side, the trendy quadrant shows the topics which interest scholars most in the last years, and for this reason, of course, they deserve our attention. So starting from the core quadrant, analyzing the keywords belonging to it, we can identify 3 main themes, which are the technological dimension, the sustainability, and the food traceability. So as far as the technological dimension is concerned, we can say that there are many communication technologies that enable the IoT system. So another recurring term in this core topic quadrant is the Industry 4.0, which stems from the 4th Industrial Revolution and indicates fully automated and interconnected production. In particular, in the food sector, the main applications are aimed at reducing production costs, at improving the productivity through shorter setup times, reducing errors and downtime, increasing information related to the production processes, and also improving the quality of products and reducing the waste. Then, the keyword analysis also demonstrates the importance of the organizational and technological dimension of IoT systems. In fact, there are many keywords such as wireless sensor networks, CPS, which is the cyber physical systems, or radio frequency identification and big data. Then, considering the sustainability theme instead, we can say that nowadays sustainability plays a fundamental role in economic, social, and environmental development process. So in the food industry, the term sustainability refers to an environmentally and socially responsible system of production and consumption, which allows to ensure food security for all the people on the planet at a minimal environmental impact. This can be achieved by reducing waste and optimizing food production or investing in environmentally and socially sustainable agri-food practices. So in this respect, the Internet of Things, of course, offers a valuable tool for pursuing sustainability in the food industry. So considering the entire food supply chain, IoT allows data to be acquired from drones or sensors in fields, silos or farms, and once processed by the IoT system, they provide farmers with vital information to produce in a sustainable way. So in particular, it allows farmers to calibrate the water used to irrigate their fields. So they give them the information about where it is needed, where water is needed, and in this case they can avoid waste. Or they can give them the information about the plants, about which plants need to be fertilized and which need pesticides, okay? And so, of course, also how much feed to give to their livestock. So in this way, waste are reduced. Finally, considering the food traceability, we can say that the globalization has significantly transformed the food sector, so opening up wider markets and allowing access to increasingly distant foods. So the presence of the term traceability among the core keywords is justified by the fact that food production and transport companies need to satisfy the desire for fresh food, which arrives from the place of origin to the table as quickly as possible. So the idea is that of ensuring food safety and quality in all the process in order to gain the respect and the trust of consumers. So, since real-time monitoring is of great importance to maintain the organoleptic characteristics of both fresh food and prepackaged foods, IoT can be combined with blockchain technology to track products throughout the whole agri-food chain. Then we move to the trendy quadrants, and two main research trends have been outlined looking at the keywords that belong to this quadrant. So they are the food waste and the post-pandemic issues. So the issue of food waste is strictly interconnected with that of sustainability, which is a core concept. In fact, food waste can be defined as any healthy, edible substance that instead of being used for human consumption is wasted, and it occurs at any stage, can occur at any stage of the food supply chain. The reasons are variable, and they depend on the stage of the food supply chain in which the loss occurs. So they could be mismanagement or inadequate transport or storage, or the lack of cold chain capacity, or maybe the lack of planning and management skills. Then we can say that the digital technologies, and in particular the Internet of Things, represent a useful tool to address this issue, because it provides solutions that can be implemented at different stages of the food supply chain. And for instance, through real-time monitoring, sensors can measure the qualities of fruits and vegetables, for instance, the colors, the size, the shape, while fruits and vegetables are still growing. So this data can significantly reduce the amount of food lost even before it enters the supply chain. Then the other main theme of research concerns the post-pandemic issues. So COVID-19 in fact affected agri-food systems and all the dimensions of the global food security. So one aspect of fundamental importance that has emerged during this crisis is the need to minimize the impact on the availability of food resources. In fact, disruptions in the agri-food chain may also lead to food losses and increased waste. Another consequence of the pandemic is the instant lack of information regarding consumer preferences. And of course, in the post-lockdown period, there has been a sudden disruption of the information in the food supply chain. So in this regard, digital technologies such as the IoT aim to bridge this gap by fostering smart agriculture and real-time monitoring practices to ensure the safety and the reliability of the product throughout the whole supply chain. Now, just some quick concluding remarks. As we said, IoT is transforming the processes that allow manufacturers in the food industry to bring their products to the market, and in particular it allows them to eliminate costly machinery breakdowns, which are all too common in this manufacturing industry, in this manufacturing sector. The main highlights, which can be derived by our keywords analysis, are the following. So it is evident that the concept of sustainability has become a mandatory paradigm for companies operating in the food sector. So many aspects of sustainability can be addressed by digital technologies, such as the use of IoT combined with blockchain to guarantee the traceability of the products throughout the whole supply chain. And of course, in this way, the organoleptic properties of food are preserved through the whole process from farm to fork. Moreover, traceability meets the sustainability requirements of this sector, and this sector is strongly characterized by food waste, so traceability is a valuable tool. And lastly, the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly impacted the agri-food sector, and the consequences of the ongoing health crisis have affected all levels of the supply chain, so from production to the final sale. And so it has been necessary to find solutions to contain them, and in light of this, the Internet of Things represents a viable solution. Thanks for your attention.